Hi everybody, this is James of Vamp the Lost Soul here. Just here to give you a review of Magic the Gathering, the card game. Now this card game has been around for a very long time and it has been made by the Wizards of the Coast. Same people that do Dungeons and Dragons, and to came to my knowledge recently, they're owned by Hasbro, which is quite an amusing thing to find out. But anyways, let's get on with this review. So me and my wife started to play this game. Actually, I think like near when we first started going out because we wanted to get into a game and stuff. So we found out. So let's start off the look of the game as part of the review. So ignore my game mat. It's nothing to do with the game, but that's just there for display purposes. But as I was saying, like the artwork is really beautiful in the... It's like if you look at artworks done by different artists, every single card just looks absolutely amazing. And even when they update, do new versions of it, still looks fantastic. Also, I do love the way they display these cards. I mean, look at it. It's so nice to look at, easy to read what's going on when you learn the game and stuff like that. Like, seriously, absolutely nailed it. Not too much going on as well, so it's very nice artwork to look at and very easy to look and know what's going on the card. Now to talk about the game itself. Now, the setup of the game is you are a planeswalker with your own library, which is your cards, by the way. A deck of 60 cards usually, going around battling other planeswalkers from other realms. Now, the objective of the game is to get the opponent's life from 20 life points to 0 life. Or another way to defeat your opponent is making them what they call decked out, which means you run out of cards on your deck and you can't take your next turn, which means you lose. So there is like another way to win, and I think there is like a third victory condition, but it's very rare, and I think it's not really being played with anymore due to how overpowered it can be. Right, anyways. So how do you play this game? Well, obviously you do your usual flip or roll a dice to see who goes first. You get to shuffle each other's decks and your own deck, and then as you start putting it down, you can start the game. Now, there are several phases to this game. The first phase is called the upkeep phase, where any effects that trigger during this upkeep phase will trigger, and also anything that is tapped is untapped. So tapping is when you do something sideways to perform an action on the field. So like attacking, doing a spell, tapping a land for mana as you call it, but we'll get to that later. Second phase is obviously the draw phase, where you just draw a card. Now this is main phase 1, I call this. So this is where you get to do all your summoning and all your spells and all that. So what you do is, mana is your most important economy, which can be used by your lands. So you need to place the land down first, and it will stand upright unless your card says otherwise. This is very easy to follow. And then what you do after is what you call tapping, where you turn the card sideways to tap for mana. And if you've got anything the same cost as that card, you get to play it down. For example, the card I'm holding here is a red card that only requires 1 red mana. So you just tap it and then summon it. Easy as that. And there are several different types of cards as well in the game. You've got your creatures, which obviously do literally your blocking your army. But when you summon them, usually they have summon sickness. So you need to play them tapped or a little bit awkward, like sideways, just to show they have just been summoned and they have summoning sickness. After that, unless they got a ability like the card I was holding in my hand, which has haste, which means that I'm allowed to tap with it soon as, but I'm just doing all the stuff for display reasons so you can understand how the game works. Also, you've got your instant spells and your sorcery. So your instant spells you can actually play at any time, even during your opponent's turn, as long as you got the mana to do it. Sorcery is only played on your main phases, and you just follow what it says on the effects. The cards are very easy to follow and understand. Some of them have keywords like haste, meaning having certain meanings, but you can easily look this up online, what each keyword means, and etc, etc. It's so easy to follow. Seriously, guys, it is actually like easy compared to you. After you've done your main phase and you have a creature on the field, it is the attack phase. Now you could do one of several things. So you could tap your creature to attack if it is untapped, to attack your opponent directly, and then the opponent can choose to defend with a creature or let the attack go through. So several ways of doing this. You can attack and then obviously hit the other creature like this battle's going on. And to tell how a battle works, they have two stats. You've got the attack stat, which is on the left of the numbers, which means it indicates how strong it is. And then on the right-hand side of the numbers, you can actually see how much health it has. Now, if that health reaches 0 by this battle phase, it means the creature will die. So as you can see, mine has 1 attack, 2 health. The other creature has 1 attack and 1 health. So which means the creature that I will be being defended against by will die instantly. Now don't worry about this. If I take 1 damage, it does mean you can keep track of it, because by the end of your turn, they will regenerate their health for the next round. Also, another way with dealing an opponent's monster, you can attack, and then if they try to defend, you can then play your instant card like I'm doing here, that does so much damage, like this card, does 3 damage, zaps the creature, and then kills it, because it's above its HP limit. And then I can hit them directly, so much fun. The last phase is your main phase, which means you can do any remaining moves. If you haven't, you just move on to the end phase. Any abilities will kick off at this point as well, before you pass your turn to your opponents. And then it is your opponent's turn to do the exact same things and follow the exact same phrases. And this will keep going on until either your HP reaches 0 or you've run out of cards in your deck and one of you will lose. So keep that in mind. Be resourceful. So, there are 5 colours in Magic the Gathering. You've got blue, red, white, black and green. Each one has its own specialist ways. Now, this has evolved to different ways over the years, but right now, to my knowledge, green is more concentrated on big creatures and mana boosting. In other words, getting as much mana out as possible and quickly and getting big creatures out quickly. Red is more concentrating, I'm going to hit you hard and fast, basically. Blue is more concentrating manipulating your own deck or others' decks, so think of it like Magic, but sort of manipulating the build and your deck or your opponent's deck to get the win. Or you got black, which specializes in sacrificing and making your opponent lose things or sacrificing things to gain the upper hand on your opponent. And white is specializing in sort of like enchantments and obviously growing your monsters bigger or even just recovering in general. That is literally the rough gist of what each card does. Now, most deck builds, as you can see like mine is a black and red deck that is specializing in basically discarding my opponent and making them hit themselves for it while hitting them very hard. So my deck has several uses. I can win by hitting them really hard, really fast. I can make my opponent lose their hand so they can't do anything. Or the more fun part for me is literally I make them lose their hand and keep hitting themselves, because I've got a card specializing saying if you've got so many cards, you lose so much health. Now, there is a full type card that I forgot to mention, which is not in my deck, called an enchantment. Enchantments are sort of you can equip to your creatures or to your opponent and do all yourself, or do various things to yourself, opponent or creatures. So please keep that in mind. Now I've explained the very basics of the game, I want to tell you what are my thoughts on this game. This game is very easy to play but very hard to master. What I'm saying is you will pick up the rules very quickly, but quickly understand when you play other opponents, they can be a bit merciless on that. But that is the beauty of the game. Like, you've got so many different strategies to choose from, so many win conditions that you can meet with your decks. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the more types of colours you have in your deck, the harder it is to pull off, but the more satisfying. But what most players will do is choose 2 colours or 1, because it is easier to manage your deck that way. And obviously it's easier to kind of reach your win condition. 1 could be a bit more predictable, so that's why most people will go with 2 colours. It gets a lot more unpredictable then. You will know what type of decks they might be running, but you don't know how they're going to pull it off. That is beauty of Magic the Gathering. There is no meta game. Every card is important in their own way unless you're playing standard. If you play modern, then oh my god, there is so many types. The only gripes I have with this game is literally, just what I hate personally, is looping. Looping, I believe it is, in my personal opinion, a very cheap way to win, because there's no real effort involved once you kick it off. I guess that is my opinion. I know roll Raptors roll, but that is just my opinion, and sadly that is something you need to respect as a person, because at the end of the day, some people like it, some people hate it. You know, it's just personal opinion. I think there should be rules like maybe like you have to do so many turns before you kick it off. I think there has, because I think most loops have one creature, which is good. It's quite restrictive, but at the same time, there are a lot of combos that are still way too easy to pull off. So that is my only personal gripe with it. Other than that, it is a fantastic game, and it is quite complicated once you start mastering the game and having fun with it. Also, there is an online version, so if you don't want to spend your money in cards and get lots and lots of cards in your room like me and Rachel did, there is an online version on the PC called Magic the Gathering. The only gripe I have with the online version is they don't have all the cards you like, and that's a shame, and I wish there was a way to sort of scan your cards into the game to prove you own those cards, to say, yes, I want to play with these cards and play Modern. Also, I don't know if it's been updated since then. I wish there's been more game types you can play with, so you could play Modern like I like to do. But other than that, fantastic game. Online or offline, get a friend, pick up a deck and play with a friend. That's all I need to say. And by the way, a little question for the end of this video. Who is your favourite Planeswalker? Mine is Liliana, because she is a badass that likes to zombies. What is yours? Please leave down in the comments below and why you like the Planeswalker. And thank you for watching. This is James Vamp. See you later. Bye. If you want to buy all 3 volumes of my manga series Vtls, you can buy them via Amazon as an ebook or get them directly off me through my website. Also, if you want to support me by any other means, I do have a Patreon, so please drop by today and check out what kind of cool stuff you can get out of being my Patreon. And I'll see you all later. Bye!